The internet we use every single day, it's kind of like a huge city. Google, Instagram, YouTube, they're like the big famous neighborhoods of that city. But there are places that don't show up on the map even though they exist. A place where normal people don't usually go. They call it the dark web. It's a part of the internet where some crazy stuff goes down, like buying and selling illegal things or trading people's personal info like bank passwords, human trafficking, hiring hackers, selling weapons, and a whole lot more. Now, 2011 was a turning point for the dark web. That's when an online marketplace was launched, later nicknamed the Amazon of the dark web. It was an online shop where you could find all kinds of stuff, but everything was totally illegal. Drugs, weapons, fake IDs, hacking codes, and much more. In just 2 years and 8 months, the amount of money that moved through it was insane. But here's the real question. Who could possibly build such a massive illegal empire? All right, let's dive into the story. Back in 2011, a 26-year-old American guy was sitting behind his laptop, working on a project that was about to shake up the internet. And no, it wasn't some ordinary program. It was something no one had ever dared to build before. The biggest black market online. This is where the story of Ross Ulbricht begins, the founder of the Silk Road. Before all this, Ross was just a smart, nerdy kid living with his family in Austin, Texas. He went to college and studied physics. After graduating, he worked here and there, like in a financial consulting firm, plus a few smaller projects. But slowly, something started to change in Ross. He eventually became a libertarian. So, what's that? Libertarianism is an ideology in the West, also called the School of Individual Freedom. Libertarians believe governments shouldn't interfere in people's lives, especially when it comes to money and the economy. Everyone should be free to make their own choices and live however they want. Some people even say the idea of cryptocurrency was kinda influenced by this philosophy. Not the main reason crypto was created, but it played a part. Ross used to think to himself, thoughtful, why shouldn't there be a marketplace where people can freely buy and sell whatever they want? And that's when he decided to launch Silk Road, a hidden marketplace on the dark web where you could find everything, drugs, fake documents, even weapons. Of course, Ross always said his main goal was something else, economic freedom, and a world without government control. But there was one big problem. How do you pull this off without the cops catching on? The answer was Bitcoin. Bitcoin was digital money that couldn't be traced. Buyers and sellers could trade without anyone knowing who paid who or where the money came from. That's why Bitcoin took off so fast in places like Silk Road. And after Silk Road launched, people swarmed to it. Anyone looking to buy or sell illegal stuff. That's why Bitcoin took off so fast in places like Silk Road. And after Silk Road launched, people swarmed to it. Anyone looking to buy or sell illegal stuff quickly realized this was their perfect spot. Using Bitcoin, they could hide their tracks. No police, no tracing. In just months, Silk Road exploded. Millions of dollars in transactions. People from all around the world logging on to buy and sell illegal goods. But how much money are we really talking about? In just 3 years, Silk Road handled over $1 billion in transactions. Basically, an empire of online crime. And Ross Ulbricht? He wasn't the same guy anymore. That young dreamer we met earlier had transformed into Dread Pirate Roberts, a mysterious figure running the entire network, willing to do whatever it took to keep it alive. Ross hid his real identity at all costs. Even in online chats and interviews, he always used the alias Dread Pirate Roberts. So who's that? Well, Dread Pirate Roberts was a legendary nickname passed down among pirate leaders. It came from Bartholomew Roberts, a famous pirate from the 18th century, and the name was never tied to just one person. When one leader was gone, the next one took over the same name.
So the legend never died, it kept going. Ross wanted the same for Silk Road. He wanted a system that didn't depend on just one person. If one leader fell, another would step in. Just like the world of pirates, it would live on forever.
But the cops were hunting him down. Problem was, Silk Road was so anonymous there was no trail. Until Ross made one small mistake. One day, he went to a programming forum and asked a question, but he accidentally used the same username, Roberts, that he had used before to promote Silk Road. That tiny slip made investigators suspicious.
So they started digging. Months of research later, the police finally realized Ross Ulbricht and Dread Pirate Roberts were the same guy. But to catch him, they needed a smart plan. Because if Ross locked his laptop, all the evidence would vanish forever.
No proof, no conviction. So they waited.
And one day, in a public library in San Francisco, Ross was working on his laptop. An undercover female agent approached and staged a fake fight. Ross got distracted for just a second, and right then, another agent grabbed his laptop from behind while it was still open. That was it. He was caught. In court, the judge hit him with a brutal sentence. 2 life sentences, plus 40 years.
What does that even mean?
It means even if he died twice in prison, he'd still need to serve another 40 years before being free. There was no hope of release, because the charges said he had created a global network of criminals. During the trial, even people like Edward Snowden spoke up in his defense, and some critics called the punishment unfair.
He even wrote a letter once thanking them for standing by him, and those efforts eventually paid off. On January 21st, 2025, Trump's second day in office during his second term, something shocking happened. Ross Ulbricht, the man behind Silk Road, was finally freed from prison. Trump granted him a full pardon, no conditions, no strings attached. This move was basically Trump paying back a promise he had made to the libertarian movement during his campaign, the same group that had fought for Ross's release for years. Trump even posted on Truth Social saying he dedicated the pardon to Ross's mother and to the libertarian cause. That night, after 12 long years behind bars, Ross walked out of federal prison in Arizona. Within hours, photos and videos of his reunion with his family spread all over social media, and just like that, the world was divided. So now the big question is, was Ross Ulbricht really a hero of freedom, or just a professional criminal? What do you think?